Meeting for June 5th, order please, roll call.
Mary Jane.
Yeah, here.
Kathy.
Here.
Teresa.
Here.
Tasha. Here. Ralph.
Here. If everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes, I would need a motion to accept, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Tasha.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the warrant payroll timesheets, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Tasha. Yes. Kathy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the interest transfer, please.
So moved. I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Tasha. Yes. Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the operating transfer to the police fund, please.
Move those funds be transferred.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Tasha. Yes. Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the grant matching transfer to the street department fund, please.
Motion made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Tasha.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Susan, where's yours?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
We're all done.
I have for you a little handout. What did you recommend? I'm going to talk about a couple things and you can kind of follow along and see how this works out.
Is there a test later?
No test, I promise. I don't like tests, you don't like tests, no test, all right? Things we're going to talk about this evening have to do with the East Cherry Street Phase 1 and 2. As you know, Phase 1 will be funded through Ohio Public Works Commission in July. You'll get your grant agreement for a $235,000 grant and the local match is $80,600. Phase 2, we finally did a public hearing with the county commissioners. It was held on May the 5th, and I appreciate those that showed up to support the project. On Friday, I received an email from Kim Keller that they have received approval from the state on the pre-application. So we're at the point now that we can submit, or the county can submit a full application for the project. They submitted the pre-application, which she said she was going to do that week. I'm not sure exactly when, but it doesn't really matter. So basically, they're in a status of being ready to submit the full application. She commented to me that in the public meeting, for those of you that weren't there, in the past, whenever we've done a competitive set-aside type grant with the county, and it didn't matter whether it was with New Parish or with some other community I worked with, she always had us put aside $3,000 for grant administration. This is kind of the normal amount of money, and that's what we always did. And I did the same thing in this budget when I put it together. And as you, the ones that were there know, she decided that since you can get up to $20,000 or 10%, whichever's less, which in this case is $20,000, she wants $20,000, not $3,000. So we had to make some adjustments to the budget, which is one thing that we need to do. And then I talked with Mandy today about that, to kind of let her look over the budget, look over her numbers, look over timing related to the project and when it would be done. And I think we kind of decided that we can come up with the $20,000, which would mean that we would have a $300,000 grant request, which is the maximum, and then there'd be a $35,000 local match because you were matching 15 before. Because you had to match a minimum of 10%. And with the other Ohio Public Works Commission money, that kind of figured into it as well. At this point, I need to revise the cost estimate upon your approval, and then I need to file some electronic files with her of maps and pictures and things like that for her to attach to the grant application itself. The application, they're due to the state no later than July 14th. She can submit it before then, but July 14th is the cutoff for this round. And then those applications will be reviewed and awards will be made in September of this year. If we would not be awarded funds, what they'll do is they will contact us and allow us to either revise the application and resubmit it for the next round. Or, they can say, it's a really good application, the competition was just pretty stiff, if you want to submit it for the next round, you can. So just because we submit it, and if it would get turned down, which I think it's a really good project, so I think we have a good chance of being funded depending on what we're up against, obviously. It doesn't mean that we can't resubmit it for the next round, which will probably be sometime in the fall with awards after the first of the year. So this program is an open program now, which means you can, if you don't submit just one time of the year like you have in the past, the critical infrastructure is what's called an open round. So at this point, I don't know if you want to say anything else, Mandy, about our conversation today, kind of what we came up with based on this was all based on the $6,000 transfer that you're making.
Yes.
Over the 3 years, what did we come up with?
$216,000.
$216,000 is what we should have if we're able to continue making the $6,000 transfers to the street department fund every month for the next
How much would the total be?
$216,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
216, 219
It was 6,000
times
times
36 months.
Okay.
So as long as we can continue to do that, then we should be fine, I would think. And we can go over that later.
Yes.
I'll go over it with you, but
That's
fine.
No,
Last minute.
Yes, no, that's what we're hoping to be able to do anyway.
Right.
So we would need a motion to change the cost estimates for the grant administration from 3,000 to 35, from 15 to 35,000.
Yes.
And that's a nice little chunk of change for them doing the paperwork.
Yes, so
I move that we amend our request.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Tasha?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
And to maybe give a little more explanation of why this is kind of different than it has been in the past. As you know, the county didn't get an allocation of money this year. It switched to that biannual thing. Well, when she got that allocation amount of money, she also was able to take grant administration money out of that of up to 20%. So at, $120,000, that's like $24,000. Well, she's not going to get that this year because she didn't get any.
It's not done the same way.
Yeah. because
It's not
she-
just
yeah.
this much for Preble County.
Right. So now next year, when they get the money though, they're going to get twice as much money. So when we get to next year, she should be able to take, instead of like 24, 40, 80, that, just
She should be able to
supposing
back
it's
that
the
down
same
for next
amount,
year.
then that should be able to get you through 2 years. But I think because, obviously nobody knew this was going to happen until November, it was probably hard for her to plan budget-wise of being able to make that money last, clear till,
Until it-
well, it would be
the
a
allocation.
year from September, because she wouldn't even have access any to that money until September of 18. So, in her defense, I'm sure she might have felt like because she didn't have any of that money available that she's used in the past, this would be kind of the, cover, an opportunity to cover that situation, because it is different.
Yes.
She doesn't have that money available to use like she has in the past. So, in her defense, I think it's only right to kind of explain that, because it is different.
I did not mean that in a
Oh,
derogatory
I
way
don't know,
when I said that.
I didn't mean that either. I
We
didn't
appreciate,
mean it,
we
no.
appreciate all the commissions do to bring as much money to Preble County as they possibly can.
Yeah,
so.
no, and I didn't take it that way, I just kind of felt like there was kind of a different circumstance.
Yeah, just like us, there are things out of their control.
Yeah, there is a different circumstance, and I didn't want it to be, anybody to feel like I was trying to portray that,
They gouge
it
us.
was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay, the second thing we'll talk about has to do with the ODOT paving of State Route 320. Rick and I talked about that a little bit, and I had contacted Jennifer Elston down at District 8, ODOT District 8, and so she basically sent back some information to me that 320, like we were just talking about, from Cherry Street south in town will be paved in 2019. So they're
Cherry
supposed to...
Street South?
Cherry
Oh, 320, yeah.
Washington.
Okay.
Or on
Washington.
Washington Street,
From charity.
From charity, sorry. Yeah, I said the wrong thing, didn't I? So it'll go from there down to 35, and then also as part of that project, they're going to pay 121 from the north edge of town clear to the county line, and then from this edge of town to the state line. So those 3 areas will be paved as part of that project. And they're supposing to bid that in January and then do it sometime that summer. And then also she provided us some information that the bridge out here is going to have some improvements done to it, and the deck will be repaved in 2022. And then they're also going to replace the superstructure on the bridge north of town, which is outside of the village limits. But it was just another project in the area that she wanted to just make us aware of. I just wanted to kind of comment to you about that. The other thing we talked about at the last meeting had to do with the upcoming Ohio Public Works Commission round number 32. And I received a letter in the mail, I believe on Thursday. You guys might have received something here, I don't know, from the county engineer's office, that they are going to have their annual application meeting on June 14th at 7 o'clock.
No, I see that at all.
Okay, and then the applications are due to the county commissioners or county engineer on the 21st of July. We talked about replacing that water line on Washington Street. And obviously, if they're going to do this paving, we want to try to see what we can do to get that done beforehand. So what I have here is a cost estimate for the paving, and I did some calculations of the way the scoring goes to try to figure out how we can get this to score the best. Based on that, if we can stay at a grant request of $150,000 or less, we top out on points, because $150,000 or less is like the top tier on the points. If we can stay at the $30,000 on the local share, it puts us at 16.6% on the local share, and the cutoff is 16% to 25%. So we really don't want to go clear up to 26. But I think if we can stay right there at 16, we can, get the most bang for your buck. Obviously you're putting in just over what you need to put in. So basically, this was the information that was given to me by Rick Snyder when we did the estimate originally. So that's my suggestion. What I would say, based on all that information, the project scores at 72 points without any county priority points. I think the cutoff this year was 78, so you're really not that far, from the cutoff that they can give you a few priority points and be there. Plus, you're asking for a small amount of money as well. The other thing that we need to kind of talk to them about is if we put it in this year in 17, we'd have to put it again in 18, 19, and you wouldn't get the money until 20. Well, that's going to not really work very well with our paving schedule. So I think there's 2 options there. One, submit the application this year and ask to have it moved into next year's round, so you would get the money in 19. We can talk with ODOT about allowing you to do the project and then paving that later that fall instead of in the spring or summer. The other option we would have is, I know I've worked with ODOT in the past, they obviously don't like paving something and you digging it up.
No.
So they're more than happy most of the time to move something back a year, if we would have to do something like that. Obviously that road's bad enough down there, I'm sure you don't want to do that. Another option that we could do is they usually have loan funds available at 0%. If you wanted loan funds, you could probably get them this year, just because you asked for all loan. But you wouldn't get any grant with it, you probably have to ask for all loan. At the $150,000, it would be divided by 30 years. You could put it out to 30 years at 0% interest, and you just pay it back over a 30-year period. So that would be about $5,000 a year. So that's an option. I don't think I talked about that with you, Mandy, because I talked about afterwards that, if it was something that you felt like, you didn't really want to wait that long, that is an option, and we could probably get it funded this year, just because they usually have loan money available that nobody asks for.
What's the deadline on this, Susan?
It would need to be into the county by July 21st. So I kind of want to talk to you about it this evening, then we can kind of decide what
Well,
you want to do. And then
we need to
can
take
do it.
this to BPA, see how it's water line, and see
Yeah.
what portion of this, and then we'll let you know
That's fine.
what BPA decides.
That's fine.
And then we can look between BPA and council and get back to determination.
July 21st.
Susan,
Got a meeting next week.
when would the, when would this be, when will we know if we got it or not? Or we're on track to get it?
Well, since it wouldn't be in for this year, we wouldn't really know probably until October of next year.
Next year, which would be too late for us to go ahead next year and borrow money and do anything, you know?
Well, we could submit it this year and get it in the pipeline, see where things go, and then come next year, we'll have to resubmit it anyway. If we resubmit it, then you're gonna kind of have to make the choice of grant or loan. I'll probably have a little better idea of who all's in that round to know how much you could move, you know what I'm saying? This year's round, there's a boatload of people. So I'm sure the only way you're probably gonna get anything is if you go all loan, because they're gonna say, well, these people have been in line, it's not really fair for you to come in and
Just jump
take
in.
their spot. So, but if you did a loan, I think that they would probably consider it because it's all loan and they usually have loan money to get rid of.
But we put it in the pipeline for next year.
Yes.
It's still before the pay.
Yes, it would still be before it paid. If I can talk with the gentleman over at Springfield once the applications go in, based on what we find out at the county scoring meeting. I know last year they had loan money left over. And so after they did all the scoring and they kind of like tried to figure out where the cutoff line was with the grant money, they still had loan money left. And so they asked for applications for anybody that wanted just loan. Like after the fact, after everything had already been turned in and scored, they still had this loan money left over, and they sent an email out and said, hey, if anybody wants some, loan money, we have it available, send it. I think we had to have applications in by like the 1st of December. So I mean, that's a possibility too. I've seen that happen a handful of times, over the years that does happen sometimes.
Okay.
So that's another option. Again, if we would wait the 3 years, I think there's probably a possibility we could move it back to 20, but I don't know that you really want to, the road's bad enough, I don't know that you want to do that.
I've delayed the route twice already, so there's no sense in taking a chance of doing something that's going to cause it to delay it another 5 years.
Well, if they move it back and take it out of the queue, there's no guarantee you're going to get
Yes,
the next year.
absolutely.
They may wait 2 more years because of what they have in the queue for 2020. So I don't think there's any guarantees. You could ask, but,
We'll consult BPA on this and get to it.
okay, all right, sounds good. Other than that, that's all I really had. If you decide you want to do that, we can pass a resolution at our next meeting in July and be fine.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Do you need some extra copies of that by chance?
I scribble all over this one, thank you.
No problem, I had to. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, Susan.
Okay.
Thank you, Susan.
All right, you're welcome. Thank
You
you.
feel free, we know you're busy.
I probably will because I do have another meeting I've got.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Dale Hall.
Yes,
sir.
Good evening. I'm here with Colin Gatlin and Susan Langley, Board of Directors on our local Chamber of Commerce Convention Visitor Bureau. We're here to ask approval or permission to use the school grounds for Apple Fest. Apple Fest is the last weekend of September. That dates would be the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. However, we do need an additional day on the Thursday before to get things rolling. Lori Gatlin this year is our Apple Fest chairperson, and she reports that everything's a go. Some exciting changes for us this year. We had inflatables last year. We're going to have them again this year. But the first night on Friday, because it's a home football game, we're going to have the inflatables up at the school. And after the game gets going, they'll bring them down and inflate them at the school grounds. So that gives us a little bit more exposure and maybe a little bit of a kick as far as word of mouth advertising to promote Apple Fest. Of course, we use the paper and the radio as well, like we have in the past. Greg Arnott and Whitey, Jim White are trying to set a new record for the most cars they've ever had, and they're working hard to get that done. Bill Floyd is in charge of music. He's going to have a Battle of the Bands. It starts July the 4th out at the village, the Snow Lift, or Valley's Edge. And then on Labor Day, they'll have it at the Legion. And then, of course, the finals will be determined on that Friday night, the first night of Apple Fest. And so we're excited about that. We think it'll bring people, particularly on Friday night, that have no interest in football, that, interest in the Battle of Bands. Bill's got it all worked out where the Jamboree is going to be performing on Saturday night, so got a good lineup. In addition, the Grand Marshal for the parade, Dave Westford's in charge of the parade, and if you remember the television show WKRP Cincinnati, I guess the main guy was Gary Sandy. He lives in Paris, Kentucky. And of course, that's where a lot of our people came from to develop New Paris. So he's going to be the Grand Marshal for the parade this year. And we're hoping bigger, better. We're going to celebrate the bicentennial during the Apple Fest. And we've got ideas like we want to place a time capsule to be open 50 years from this year, somewhere up at the park. And we like to have the community put some ditties or whatever they put in a time capsule. We talked about a balloon release with, something about bicentennial 1817 to 2017, and let them sail away with a postcard, and the one that we have determined how, if it gets back first, or probably the one farthest will get some sort of a prize. But we need other input as far as things for bicentennial. Your beard probably would be good for the beard contest.
I remember being in the beard contest at the last one.
Yeah, well, we probably got your picture.
Probably do. That's why it was a little darker.
Yeah, I was thinking it was
Yeah, I was a lot younger too.
But we do need no more suggestions for bicentennial. We've got more, but still need a lot more. We would like to get permission to put another spotlight at the old ballpark at the very back, so that when we do have the inflatables there, they can be seen. Inflatables, incidentally, are manned, because we have a problem getting volunteers, they're manned by the different organizations from the school. And they get a portion of that money. They sell donuts as well. But that's our way where we've got plenty of help, particularly on these inflatables and the sale of the donuts, and it comes from our National Trail School. We also would like to install lighting, and it'd be at your recommendation, inside the two shelters, and if wanted or needed, electrical outlets. At the same time, we're putting in this new spotlight, so we want you to think about that. And of course, we're in the process of redoing our budget for the chamber. A lot of people think that we're just flush with money right now, and the fact is, we do sponsor a lot of things, but more than half of the money that we have in our coffers goes to Apple Fest. And there was a day when Apple Fest made money. unfortunately, the last few years, we've only made money, and it was only like $1 over cost, just so we could say we made money in the last 5 years. So more than half the money that we have available does go for Applefest. But in addition to that, the Chamber, CBB, and which in the state of Ohio, the New Paris Chamber of Commerce is only one of 4 combined chamber convention visitor bureaus. All the others have a separate chamber and a separate CBB. In Preble County, we've got 3 CBBs. We've got the one in Eaton. The money for their CBB comes from the township, of the commissioners. The Houston Woods is the other one, and of course, their money comes from the bed tax at the lodges from Houston Woods. And they are the largest. They more or less, they work with Oxford more than they work with us, except for the bikes and blues bike ride. Our money, of course, comes from the Fairmont for the most part, but we use that money very prudently. We support the Driven Foundation. That's at National Trail, and for those of you that don't know what the Driven Foundation is, they're retired Ohio State football players that volunteer their time to put a positive message in the minds of our youth everywhere from kindergarten up through seniors, and they spend a whole day with these kids. And if you ever get the opportunity, just go out and see their basketball game or whatever. We spend money, of course, on brochures that go to 10 rest stops promoting nothing but New Paris. And that goes throughout the state. We spend money on the garage sales as far as advertising them. We spend money on the 4th of July. We support the community food bank. So these are some of the things that the chamber does. So we're not just, what I'm trying to relate to you is that the money that we are given, for the most part, we try to put it in,
Turns right out.
turn it over and put it in, community efforts that are going to be good. Our chamber, we'd like to invite anybody that can come. Our board of directors meeting is the second Tuesday at the Antique Mall at 12 o'clock, 12 to 1. And then we have an open meeting on the last Tuesday. It's been at the Southern Comfort just because it's quiet there. And that's the last Tuesday from 12 to 1. And normally, we're always looking for input, but more than that, we're looking for new blood. I mean, and everybody's looking for new blood, but it's here in this community. I mean, I know it's here, even though they might work out of town. It's just a problem of getting them to our meetings. But boy, the first year is free at the chamber for an individual. Individuals, they don't have to be somebody in business anymore. Individuals, like I don't have a job, I'm retired, so it costs me $25 a year. For a business, $40 a year. And that's not only here, but it's Darke County as well. I mean, we spread our, so we can get people from both areas, and we do have people from Darke County that come, but we've got half the membership of what we had, let's say, 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I joined. But mainly, I got off track, but mainly what I'm here for tonight.
I'm glad, I appreciate hearing all that. I think everybody needs to know.
Well, I mean, sometimes I feel like, where the chamber's just sitting with their thumb, where, but.
Nobody does that when they're successful. So.
But we're here.
There's a lot of opinion of us the same way, Justin.
Yeah, well, you're more ambitious than we were. I mean, I'm hearing those dollar figures. I'm starting to shake already.
Well,
and the volunteers that put into it. I know it's a lot of work. As far as approval for the Apple Fest, I see absolutely no reason. Let's make a motion to get that out of the way if we could, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the lighting and everything.
Oh, that's not the same thing. It's
Separate.
It's not separate. It's like two separate.
All of
Well,
it.
Let's do the Apple Fest first and have a discussion about the lighting.
Okay,
This
I
is
make
good.
a motion to have the Apple Fest.
Thank you.
Second on that motion.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Sasha?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yeah.
Now, on the lighting, you're talking about just another security light on a pole. Correct. Are you guys gonna run that overhead or underground or off the wire?
That's going to be overhead.
Overhead?
Yeah.
And you say down by the old diamond?
Probably.
It's going to be, if you remember from last year where we had the bounce houses on back beyond where the
Right before you got to the
shelter is.
hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we felt it was a little dark, and especially this year, we've got the Preble County Historical Society that's going to be back there as well, and then the petting zoo's coming back, and that's going to be over on the side. So we thought, additional lighting back there that'll kind of take care of where the kids are in the
Yeah,
downtown.
I think it'd be
and then
great.
A little bit in the back.
I think it'd be great, there's some discussion as to where it needs to be probably, because I have been approached a couple times about, and I went up and measured and walked it off and did everything I could do to try to make room for the soccer field, and I just could not come up with the yardage they need presently. But, if we end up hopefully getting to the point where we can remove the school and take that hill out to the north, then there would be enough room there for the soccer field for youth soccer up there. One thing I would say is we need to, where we sit the pole, we want to make sure that we stay out of any future possibilities there.
That's where it would be better to be above ground for the lighting.
Yeah.
For the wiring to be above
It
instead
could be moved, so I'm just saying,
Right.
I'm sure that the park committee and the chamber can get together on that and designate a spot up there. Back to the electric, to the buildings. I think that's awesome that the chamber is willing to run this extra lighting up there.
It would have to be locked where it couldn't be used
The
itself.
next thing I was going to say is that you're going to have, if you have open electricity up there, it's going to be used by someone. We're already having issues with vandalism already, and we have our law enforcement has been told to enforce strictly our rules up there when they find damages.
There's a lot of boxes that you can have a lock
Yeah.
on and lock off the power to those things.
And how much power are you thinking to, are you wanting to put lights in there, or you just want to put power in there?
Well, we talked about at one of the recent board meetings on just getting some kind of, a couple of light bulbs up there. So,
Right.
especially like for Apple Fest
Right.
meetings and
Right.
on that, and if anybody's, utilizing the place, but when it becomes a full-fledged park,
Yeah.
it would be nice to, be able to do that, especially in the fall when it gets darker earlier.
And I have no idea what your plans are for the shelter during your Apple Fest, which is fine. You're talking about several outlets up there, or what are you guys thinking?
I doubt we need more than maybe an outlet with 4 outlets on it.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that, because we've got other juice coming in from
Right.
other areas.
The juice to the one by the basketball goal is not going to be an issue. The one up on the north end might be a little bit more of an expense because,
There's nothing up there yet.
yeah, so, yeah. Now, there is a pole right there on the corner. I'm not sure if there's a transformer on that or not. I'd have to look, but the only transformer I can think of right off the top of my head is right there at the corner of the school building.
And the one by where the Apple Fest will be is our primary
You're right, exactly.
one that we're
Understand.
most interested in getting done first.
And that's the one we're having the most issues with vandalism,
Vandalism
because that's where
also.
the kids are hanging out up there, and we are being very strict. We have already we've already put charges on a couple people and everything else. We're trying to get the word out there that we're not going to tolerate any destruction up there. So,
We were also interested in finding out prices on what you had for your picnic tables too.
we never
I
got
know
that letter
that-
of paper that we're going to ask
It's my fault,
community
too.
participation from businesses or whoever, but we've kind of decided that composite tables are probably the most durable.
The ones I've looked at run around between $800 and $1,000 a piece.
Those, I think
But
we
we
paid
want-
around $500 for, but we've had them in the
Right,
market
that's-
for several years, so they're about $800 on the
something.
average, they're about $800. But they're durable, they're gonna last, and they're 450 pounds, so you just can't pick them up and carry them off. And so we kind of made a general consensus, I think, in the meeting, that that's what we would like to stick
Prefer
with.
to have.
We prefer to have that simply from the durability side of it. I mean, you go here and buy the little ones for $90, and
Yeah, but that's what you're gonna get.
It's $90, so,
That'd be probably the next logical investment that somebody from the outside can give you guys.
yeah, we wanted to put it in the table, we didn't get it done yet, we're gonna ask for anybody who'd like to donate a table, we'll put a chart up there that people has donated or whatever, businesses or individuals, whoever, but we would like to set a standard to it, to where we try and keep it somewhat as much the same as we possibly can.
Well, I mean, if you've got very many, you could move the others to the other.
Yeah.
So you'd have matching ones at one place.
Like I say, they're heavy, so they have to be moved, we usually use the, Bobcat, they're forced to move around, but so we do it purposely for that. But, I think it's wonderful that if we had some electric up there, and especially an extra lighting route, on the committee, what do you think, sir?
Well, I would like to know about how much illumination it's gonna make, because of the people that live border that particular park.
That's true.
Lighting up their backyard, or lighting up their area on a permanent basis.
And well, they wouldn't be on it permanently.
Okay, it would be just for that Fest time
It
of
would
year.
just be whenever it was being
Okay,
used with
that was
permission.
a question
Just,
I was
I don't know
gonna
what
ask.
people's doing, if anybody's asking for permission to use the picnic table areas for birthday parties or
Yes.
such.
We have a sign
If they
up.
do, then they could have the key to unlock and have the electric.
Okay.
That kind
was
of
a question I had, but it would be a constant
It,
fight
no,
all the
we,
time.
no,
Or
because
it
we
would be a
don't,
temporary
we don't
light
want that electric
during
one
the-
either.
Right, right.
And I think it's wonderful, wonderful the chamber to step up for that. And if the park committee and the chamber can set a meeting together and figure all this out, I don't see, Ralph, you see any issues with this? I don't either, so anybody else?
I would just say that there's a special use form that needs to be filled out. Somebody will have to sign it, and can give you one this evening, somebody can take care of that. I mean, there's no doubt that you are welcome to use the park for the Apple Fest, but there are things like liability insurance coverage and things just to cover everybody that we want to make sure people doing a special use, more than one day, evening time, all that, can have, will get. So if you want to get that from her, she can get you one.
Sure, we should
If
make
you
it
don't
during
want to-
meeting.
If you're ready to go, yeah, if you're ready to leave when you're done here, then stop by, somebody just stop by and pick that up.
Yeah, I can get it anytime. I'm still not working.
I can take it up to the bank and drop it off there.
Well, that would work.
I'd like this opportunity to read this letter I got from Representative Resback, while your chamber's here and council's here, addressed to me. I want to write to inform you that I'm doing my absolute best to ensure that we secure funding for the request you have made to our office. As an attempt to support projects in our community, I have submitted for the main operating budget. We got turned down for a grant that we applied for with the school. We got turned down, but Representative Resback has submitted to the main operating budget request for $250,000 for the New Paris Park project. This funding would have come as part of a previous request of $2.5 million from the Montgomery County Fair project. So Representative Resback is still on our side trying to find some money to continue up there and get rid of the school building and make it a park up there. So just let you know that he hasn't forgot about us, and that he's still trying to find money for us up there. The $250,000, if we could get that, we'd get rid of the asbestos, and then we could look at, a loan on taking the building down at that point. So we're working as hard as we can work, trying to find the money to get something done up there on a permanent basis, but it is what it is, it moves slowly.
It's a hazard. You need to stay out there.
Yeah, we're still going in there.
Right, Charlie?
There's no reason back on building. I think the chief got some kids back there this past week.
I believe it breathes when you go in there.
I don't either. It's
It's
just so,
pretty
Kids,
tough.
Between the mold.
you gotta help their
Yeah,
lives.
it's bad.
They will for a while.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get
Well,
rid
years
of
ago,
Last time I was in there, it was probably 6 months ago, I came back out coughing up black stuff. It's bad.
Really, is that bad? Is there mold in there too?
Yes, yeah.
It's
For
very
years
unsafe.
it's been.
I mean-
Black mold?
I made 4 trips through there last year, twice with the EPA people and twice with contractors, and it's pretty
So
nasty.
you would need to go in there with the hazmat suit.
I wear a mask on.
Wear a mask when you go in there, even that.
Just a quick question about destruction of properties and things like that. Is there any other grants out there that's available to do these buildings that are?
We've had Susan beating the bushes for the last 3 years, trust me. So, I mean, if it's gonna find one, Susan's gonna find it. And
Not the
so
first one we got
I really
turned down.
I feel really good about the our Representative Resback. You know, I've talked to him on a couple occasions, and I really think he's trying, we're the only one in the county that doesn't have a park, and he realizes that, so I think he's doing what he can for us to try to find us some money, so hopefully he comes up with it, so. Any other discussion as far as park or chamber? Chamber, we appreciate you showing up tonight.
Do you
I
need
think
to
we can
have
bring
a
in your-
motion to allow the lighting or the electrifying of the?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
have a
we can
motion
do
on
that.
that, yes.
I move to allow the chamber to put up an additional nightlight
Nightlight.
spotlight at the grounds and to electrify at least one, if not both, of the shelters.
Second.
Would-
Is that everything?
After a meeting with the,
Yes.
Yeah.
meeting with park.
Oh, okay, okay.
Have to meet and figure out everybody will be there about anything, but yes.
Okay, yeah.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Sasha? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Chamber, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Without you, we wouldn't be able to get our grants.
Yeah, you
We
do
know.
the chamber.
Yeah, that's why we need young blood.
I know.
Susan.
I go back to October the 15th, and then they'll see if they release me then.
Are you dating your son?
I'm bored out of my
I
mind.
know.
I'm reading new books. Yeah.
Next is the Public Utility Pool of Ohio, the village insurance renewal. We had an increase in premium of $692 from last year. The new premium is $20,712.
Seems like we just renewed that.
Every year?
It goes too fast.
If it goes up $7,000 a year, we'll be out of money.
Well, like every other thing. But we don't have much,
You don't, and the
Choice.
the best way to go.
and I don't think we've ever found, you know, we tried to get people in here, or individuals, give us quotes and everything else, and, you know, I don't think it's kind of the pools has always turned out to be about the best way to go, so it's kind of one of those, dang if you do, and dang if you don't. So we would need a motion to renew the village insurance through the Pool of Ohio for $20,712.
Motion made.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Sasha?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Safety, Sergeant, you're up.
Good evening. Chief's on vacation, so he sent me, so I was doing, I guess all I'm doing is the activity report for May 2017. Calls for service made 131, with 27 reports made, 0 arrests, 11 citations were issued with 33 warnings.
We talked just a second about Eric, and I heard you talking about Eric.
Absolutely. He was, a month or 2 ago, diagnosed with lung cancer, or the beginning stages of it. So they decided to do surgery. He had surgery, they had to remove half of a lung Thursday. He had surgery, he came home today. So I think they're looking at approximately a month is what he's looking at now, recovery time. So we're stepping up some extra shifts with some other people to help us fill in and keep our coverage. Hopefully he's back, supposed to be back to 100% once he's done, so.
On that same subject, Eric has 2 part-time jobs, so he can't pull against any vacation money or anything. He doesn't have to, he doesn't get those benefits, the time benefits. I know that Mandy told me there's a GoFundMe page set up. I don't know what percentage GoFundMe gets, but they do get a cut out of that. Here in this office, the employees have they're taking the collection of funds. They're going to get a grocery cart, or they're going to get something that would be useful to them while he is not working. If you wish to be a part of that collection, and you can, if you can get money to Mandy, whatever you can get, by the end of the week, you think, that's fine. That would help, and she will see that there's a gift card or something, and Eric gets that.
And I believe Regals is doing a raffle.
And that's,
for,
yes,
like $5
There's just a
tickets
lot
for-
of people in the community that are collecting things and doing things.
Quite a bit, there's a lot of.
Riddles has a half a hog, isn't that what they're raffling off?
Yeah.
I think they're doing a whole hog for 2 people, so you
Oh,
get
okay.
2 halves.
Okay.
So,
And 2 winners, think about $5 tickets.
They're gonna keep doing that for a while?
I think the drawing is July 1st.
Yeah, so we can, yeah, I believe that's what it's.
so we just thought that it would be nice as, I mean, he does work almost 80 hours a pay period, so he works very close to being full-time, but with him not having any benefits, I'm sure.
And
They
it's
would
hard for
appreciate
anybody.
Anything.
Yes.
So
if
for-
you want to make a donation.
Does he have
we'll take
families,
that.
have kids?
Has
got
your wife,
four.
how many kids again? 4.
Wow.
And she's busy. She works in medical field somewhere in Richmond. I don't know exactly what, but.
Where do you get the raffle tickets, that's not?
Regals has them. I don't think anybody else around town. There's a couple other people that are doing different things.
Yeah,
I've seen around.
Yeah, but you can go down the Regals to the, probably the other office over there, where the meat locker and all that is, and buy the tickets.
Is he the one that lives here in town?
Yeah.
Lives over on Western Road.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Building,
None?
streets,
Yeah, I have, item here, Jimmy Ray's deals. The review is up, and Bill and I went over this. I'd like to pass it on to council members. Also, at the same time, I would like to request a 3% increase in wages. He's currently at $15.45. The increase of 46 cents would put him at $15.91. If you'd like to look at that, pass it around. I'd also like to thank Jimmy, who's not here, but for the job well done on the streets and the potholes.
And Patrick, I talked to him.
I think he did an excellent
He
job.
did.
and Patrick.
And Patrick, yes. The gang did a superb job. Once the weather broke where they could do it and get on it, they got on it, stayed on it, and turned out quite well. And I'd like to tell the guys thanks.
Yeah, I haven't heard any complaints.
Well, at least we know we did what we needed to get done. There'll always be complaints.
And I think,
Yeah.
Andy, is there still some outside billing that we?
There is, it has not came in yet, so we're still waiting for the last round of invoices from Milestone.
Okay.
So we don't have a final figure yet.
Okay.
I figured we would just move it.
And all the rental equipment that we used has been sent back.
Rental equipment has all been paid for. I
Okay.
believe the only thing left outstanding is the last 2 days that they went to Milestone.
So we will have to move money
Yeah.
to get that paid.
Yeah, because I think our street fund is about,
And you haven't had the bill yet? We have 30 days. I mean, can we take care of it in July?
yeah, we'll be able to take
Okay.
care of it all. I haven't received anything yet, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I believe that was in the form of a motion for 3% for Jimmy Rathfield.
It was. Yes, it was.
Is there a second on the motion?
I second that.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yeah.
Tasha? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Brad?
Lights,
Thank you.
Nothing.
finance.
I have down here about the transfer, but we're not ready to do that yet. The other thing I'd like everybody to look at, who's got their revenue status, is the
income tax, which is still not coming up to where we want it to. Are we through May on this?
No, that's just for
This is just through April. So we might not be as far behind as I thought. Do you have any idea what we got in May?
No, I'll stop right there.
Okay.
Is there a way that you can check to see that everybody's paying what they're supposed to?
Well, they do that down there.
Yeah, that's what I
That's what
mean.
Hamilton County's for.
Why
That's
they
we
get
pay 'em.
paid, yeah, and they do it. I mean, you know, if you're not, if you own property, if you live here, whatever, you're getting a notice that, or work here, that's right. You have a notice mailed to you, and as far as I know, and there's people who have gotten them. So
I didn't know what the procedure was. for
they
sure.
would make what they say, we haven't received
And then
yours.
there's penalties or consequences?
I'm sure there are consequences and penalties, but,
It's all handled by Hamilton County.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure what they do with the,
Or, excuse me,
Butler
city
County.
of
City.
Kansas.
Butler
Excuse me.
County, yeah.
Excuse me, I misspoke.
Okay.
well, then we'll worry about income tax once we have the June numbers, but it looks kind of puny to me.
Anything else, Kathy?
I have nothing else.
Thank you. Sanitation?
I sent out some letters. Police department delivered them. I did call the courthouse and I checked on a few properties. The property at 205 North High Street and also the old First National Bank will be going up for sheriff's auction June the 30th. They're going to start the house out down on North High Street at $14,000. And the old bank, they're wanting $50,000 out of it, but I think they're going to start it off at $33,000. But the same person owns both of those. If nobody, it usually has to go around twice through the sheriff's auction before
They just say,
yeah, and then there's a possibility if no one bids on it, maybe it be turned over to the village for $1 or whatever, however they do it in the
do you have a
past.
question? How long between the first offering at auction and the
I
second?
don't know.
I wondered how.
Linda Moore always, she's in charge of the sheriff's auctions.
Okay.
And
would
she
know
always,
how long this-
she usually contacts me. I also had to get the health department involved in a couple of properties here in town. One of them's the one up on East Main Street, close to the Methodist Church, who is Harry Bright property. And the property at 205, is that 205? 208, sorry. 208 North High Street, which is owned by Robin Harder. Roger Walker, is that right? Yeah, I think it's Roger Walker, I'm sorry. Mr. Walker. I rode around with him and showed him the areas, and he has sent each of these property owners letters. He will be back for a re-inspection on July the 9th. And whatever their procedure is, he will take them to court or whatever.
So what's
I don't
the
know.
issue on them?
Well, they're a filthy
Or
mess, and
sanitary?
solid waste. You can read the letters of what it says, or I can get you copies of them if you want. Anytime you want to look at that, my file
Okay.
cabinet's back there by the time clock.
This is East Main Street.
So-
Cars full of mattresses, it's not weather tight, it will lead to road coverage, front porch stack, piles of miscellaneous items, fire hazard, storage and collection of solid waste, Carroll County General Health states that solid waste means such unwanted residual solid or semi-solid material.
which they are talking about, includes garbage, includes everything.
Okay.
Just curious.
They're both about the same. But I had given Mrs. Harder 30 days, which winds up being around July the 9th. And it's just the same people
All the time.
all the time.
Any luck on the one down the street from you, Carl?
Yeah.
He did clean up, he's been keeping the grass mowed. I did not check, I was going to check on that before I came down here tonight, but I haven't done it. So
But he did
I'll
make
do
an
that
effort of
tomorrow.
some kind.
He made an effort. He did not fix the corner of his house where the siding's fallen off. But he did clean up the
All the loose
dirt.
stuff was out front there.
I'm not sure about that. I didn't go back and check. I did go back and check after the first 10 days, but I haven't been back since then.
Well, I mean, all that stuff piled around there is the same kind of solid waste.
Yeah.
Road harbor
Right.
as.
Yeah.
So,
And
And Mr. Bright has asked for an appeals meeting. But he supposedly had a knee surgery that's in the
I was
nerve.
gonna say, he has some health issues, I've
Yeah.
been told, but I don't know how it's
Mhm. Yeah, I have a letter from Gus Ross from the last time he got a letter, so.
thank you, Mary Jane, I really appreciate you. I was just
And I do
writing
not
about the health
know,
department today.
we were so busy with street work, I don't know, and Ralph, maybe you know whether Jimmy had a chance to go and check on Jennifer Hobbs for that fence behind
No,
us.
I don't know that.
I don't know whether he did or not. I'll check on
And
that.
I'm thinking he said there wasn't a fence up there at all.
I'll check on that.
Or may not
We got,
be
so
there.
our mind was focused on the
Yeah.
streets, that may have slipped through, but I'll follow up with
Yeah,
that.
I'm pretty sure he did go up there, and I'm pretty sure he came back and said there's no fence there, anywhere.
Huh.
Right.
Don't hold me to that though, I'm thinking that's what they said, I think when I'm back, when I'm there, I said.
Okay. All right, we don't have any resolutions. New business is taken care of.
I would like to add something here for old business. I went to the commissioners' meeting this morning. We were told back in, I think, March, when we went up to lobby for the land bank, you know, that they would have a decision today. Well, they don't, but I do think they have been working on it. It's hard to tell whether they're in favor or not, but it would certainly help with some things, especially things like this bank building up here. And because if we get it, we're going to have to pay to have it torn down. We don't want to. But I tried to say to the commissioners that I know there are places like this all over Carroll County, and that we do so little of it in villages. It would be very nice if it were centralized, where there's somebody that's got their finger on the right moves to make, know when something isn't going to work and when something is. So hopefully, now they say September. Maybe they'll have a decision in September. At least they'll give us an update.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I would need a motion to go to executive session to discuss personnel. I will tell the ones here that when we come out, and then we'll be adjourned right afterwards, or we'll do anything else. So I would need a motion to go to executive session.
Could I have one more second? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I have this registration for the 2017 municipal income tax seminar, if anyone would like to go. I cannot go, and I don't have any desire to, really. We don't handle it ourselves, and I'm not sure it would be worthwhile, but if somebody would like to learn more about municipal income tax, these papers will be out, Mandy will have them, okay? We can always make copies if several of you want to go.
Okay, thank you.
do you have any questions for us? No? You're from the Register Herald, right? Okay.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Sasha? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Bill? I'm sorry.